Bob comes to Scooby Bob. Hello. HP fan. Ooh, that's a good pickup for them. At least for this one league match, that is. Of course, it's probably a tryout, but it's a good tryout / pickup if it is a pickup. It's a good team for her. She's a good support for them. Okay. At least for this one league. Got the stream here. Let me just do this in the game while I set up the rest of things on my iPad here. Perfect. Okay. Boom. Boom. Sorry, starting stream a bit unprepared because we're looking to go pretty fast here, but so I'm not quite prepared to be starting a stream, but I'm just getting it underway so we can get this match underway as both teams are ready. Now this is going to be quite an interesting matchup. We have Keedic, consisting of Monk, Firewater, Cody, aka Rixie formerly known as Warax. We've got Mon-Keedic, aka Alpha, here. And for the side of Arson, we've got the usuals, plus HP fan, which is either a new pickup or a tryout, something of that sort. So it's gonna be a good game here, with the Charizard band coming in and a Ho band to match. Keedic having this first pick, so we'll have to see. Keedic, I think, hates things with wings. Oh, I thought the cram was about to be banned. I was gonna say both teams hating things with wings, as everything that's been banned has wings, but this Clefable does not have wings. So, and a pink thing, neither does Zara. That thing's got claws. So, no claws allowed. Of course, the Zeraora ban is targeted at Monk, as he is a gold badge. You know, many games played on the Zeraora. Hard comfort has picked it out many times. So it's going to be a ban specifically targeted for him. We have Firewater on the Suicune. See if he's done some practice since the last time we've seen it, because that Suicune pick, he was looking a lot better on some other things the last time that this team played. But we'll see if the Suicune has been practiced some more. HP fan on the Blissey, very common to see her on that, as well as the quality Snorlax. That is something that is cool to see come out, as I know that he has not been quite as big on the Snorlax as a lot of people have been in this meta, opting for that Psyduck or Crustle or these sort of picks instead. But the Lax coming out is definitely still like a very strong pick, and I'm excited to see what quality can do with it. Of course, Cody locks in Umbreon. That is the most comfortable mon for him. He believes it's the best defender in the game. And Latios, weirdly enough, actually ends up going to Keedic in their second and third picks. It's got to be really interesting from them. But we do have a Miraidon, and the Leafeon is definitely going to do some work against the Latios. See if we can go for maybe a double dive here, some sort of other speedster to do some work into the Latios, something that can also shred these all-rounders. But it is the full heal on the Urshifu, which means maybe it's going to be more of a speedster-ish type of mon, going for that Water Bear build, potentially. I like the Darkrai pick, a little bit on the speedster side, a little bit on the tank shred side, hard to catch by the all-rounders, but still able to kill that Latios if it does get within the range. So, I'm a big fan of this pick from Pixel. I'm a big fan of this draft from both sides. I think it's probably slightly Keedic favored. But they don't have anything to really help the Latios survive unless this Umbreon goes Wish, which I don't think this Umbreon will go Wish, so it's actually, I do think Arson is potentially having the better draft because I don't think this Umbreon is very comfortable going Wish. I don't think he's going to put on the Buddy Barrier. These are two things that really need to happen for this Latios to have that much impact in this game because they do have so much dive. You're going to need to be able to have that PO resources for the Latios. So this Umbreon, I would love to see him have the Buddy Barrier. I'd love to see him go Wish, but I don't think either of those things are going to happen, which means I favor Arson's draft in this sort of situation because the Darkrai can also really mess up the Urshifu sometimes, but those full heals are going to be really impactful. If we can get some good full heals from Monk, he can definitely 1v1 the Darkrai. And once that Darkrai is gone, he can sort of go infinite into the enemy team comp, then kind of have to play back until the Darkrai is back. So it's definitely something interesting to look at. Who's the favorite in this league match? That's really interesting. Oh, hold on. The top part of the screen is a little bit cut off. Let me pull that down a tiny bit so you can see everything. I think the favorite right now is probably Arson, but I would have said, I would have easily said Arson, you know, before that last week. They didn't quite look like themselves in the last week, so we'll see if that was maybe just a fluke, or if they were performing on a slightly lower level, just in general than I expected. But yeah, I'd still say Arson is favored even with the bad performance last week. But, you know, this week is definitely going to be... Keedic is not a shabby opponent, so we're going to have to see if Arson can really stick to their stuff that, you know, you expect from them. Keedic, of course, beating Shiggy Wiggy in a Game 5, whereas Arson just fell to Shiggy Wiggy last week. That's why I say... But neither of those games would be the way that I predict them to go. Both those games were upsets in my book. So we'll have to see if I'm right about them being upsets, or maybe if I've just misjudged some of the qualities of these teams. This Water Bear ganking, of course, we have the 4-man top. This is a classic for Arson. They do this almost every game. And sometimes it leads to some avail, sometimes it doesn't. This time they do end up getting most of the Bs. We'll see how dominant the spot lane is, but, you know, it is a level 5 Latios, but he's not going to get that many stacks because there's no fighting going on. So overall, if you are going to 4-man into a Latios, is not bad, because we see him not getting those stacks that he loves so much. And here, quality is sort of making a bad play here, not because he's not able to do that and get away safely, but just because these stacks for this Latios is a really impactful part of the game, and Budwolf also pushing up, giving this Latios free stacks. It's just really unfortunate to see how many stacks this Latios already has. He's going to potentially have enough to one-shot the speedster that's diving him, which would be really sad if by raid time that they give them enough stacks to one-shot the speedster who's diving them. It could definitely be a lot more Keedic favored. As this Wet Bear goes in, ends up picking the Darkrai. He's playing a little bit too far forward, not ready for the full heals. This is what I was talking about with the full heal. It is an item where if the Darkrai isn't ready for it, they can take a very bad misengagement. And if the Urshifu is sure to not use that item until it's the right time, you know, then this Darkrai just sort of has to position very far back, and he can't really play all too much. So we saw the Darkrai not really respecting the full heal from Pixel, and Monk ends up killing 2 as a result, you know, because Evoli was expecting her Darkrai to sort of stun the Urshi as it goes in as well, I'm pretty sure, but no avail, as of course the Urshifu just pops that full heal. Curious to see, we've got the 1-man top, or we've got the 1 top for Arson. We've got 4-bot, Darkrai clearing jungle. We have a 3v3 here. The Urshifu is almost at his ult, but he has already cleared all of his jungle farm, so there's nothing to clear. If he kills this Lax, it will give him his Unite, but he doesn't. And that means that he's just going to wait so long that this Darkrai comes down here at the level 8, and now it's a 4v3. Even though we do have this Urshi ult, they end up backing up, maybe even going to give this objective. And I think that you should absolutely just rip the objective and not worry too much about anything much else, because they do have this Urshifu ult, so going in for the fight might be potentially a horrible choice. But it also is unfortunate. I think we might have misclicked on the Darkrai. I did not realize that he is Shadow Claw Nasty Plot. I mean, there is always some potential for these weird movesets. I'm not going to claim that I'm the Darkrai master who knows all. Maybe it was intentional, but if I was to guess, put it up to odds, I would say there is greater odds that this is a misclick. And I apologize if I'm spewing some wrong information here, but Keedic is looking really strong. I think this Darkrai was very pivotal for the side of Arson, and unfortunately, he does misclick, I think, his move. Meaning that it's really bad. I mean, Darkrai, of course, commonly known as the Diddy of Unite, but he's not going to be diddying too many people around here in this game because he's got the wrong move. A move that doesn't quite work into their comp, you know, not quite as annoying, not quite as easy to CC with. So, yeah, but the quality finds a really amazing engage. Good Blissey ult to follow up with the Leafeon. Good Solar Blade. Only Darkrai goes down. Here we can't really push the pad, but doing this objective should be free. The Urshi might look for an ult engage angle, though, and he might be able to take it, or at least bring it down to some sort of contested secure. Oh! And they get it with the Miraidon, but they throw so many resources at that Keedic is going to end up getting these kills and just being able to rip it back the other way. I would have maybe seen Arson take that winning fight, and then once they realize that they're going to contest for this Alecki, they can just leave, because I think it's very hard to secure that without giving a kill or two, at least on that Lax. And maybe the Lax dying is worth it, but the Leaf dying is definitely not. So it's interesting to see Keedic maybe pushing up for the bees, trying to contest, but they opt not to. I'm curious why, because they probably can force some of these bees onto their own side, and they do with this Buzzwole as they rotate down with the Urshifu. This is why they didn't want to play for the bees on the Urshifu, is because they're trying to get this tempo and not let these guys rip immediately, as Arson tries to burn this down before Keedic can rotate, because they think that they are out of position, but they're not, as Monk prioritizing this rotation does just go down fast, but he gets Darkrai ulted, and seeing this 1v1 is going to be very important as to who wins. I think he got the Reggie heal within the Diddy realm, and that is going to be really, really curious, as it saves his life. If I'm not mistaken, he did get the heal from the Reggie. Oh, no focus band on the Buzzwole, as the Urshifu does fall to the Miraidon here, and everyone jumps, leaving this Umbreon to go for his cap for free. Pixel might get there in time, but the Score Shield, I think, is going to stop it, even if he was able to get there, but he wasn't able to in the first place anyway. It's a beautiful block from Quality, though. Going to probably secure this kill eventually. And that is a level 11 kill on the Umbreon, but he gets away! Foul play, and this Buzzwole is going to now get a superpower. Oh! Buzzwole ult at 315. That's going to be hard to farm back. I mean, it's very plausible, but if you're Quality here, you have to focus on getting these bees, because if this Buzzwole gets these bees, it's a tragedy for you, as he uses that resources and is able to get it back. But he's only able to pick up one small, meaning it's going to be really hard for this Buzzwole to find this Unite move by 2 minutes. And if you're Arson here, you're really looking to pick this Buzzwole at, like, 210. That would be a very possible way to come back into this game if he's playing too aggressive. Beautiful Leaf ult. It is late as well, so they kind of are cashing out that Unite move, and the fact that Keedic doesn't want to play aggressive in the Ray fight as they're farming back an ult for this Leaf ult that secures a kill, and basically saying, we're going to use an ult too, so that you don't want to fight us when we have no ult, because you have no ult too, and we are okay with that. We'll just farm our ult back while you get your ult back, and we will play the 5v5 with ults when we all have it. That's what this exchange of value is saying for. They're basically cashing in that ult value early. Really interesting to see. The levels-wise are actually pretty even, but this team fight has a very stacked up Latios. They've got a level 13er who, you know, this Latios, it's really going to come down to whether this guy gets caught really easily, as this Blissey ult plus Leaf ult or Darkrai ult could really catch that guy out. But the Darkrai does want to 1v1 this Urshifu as well. If he can find an ult like he did in the Reggie fight without that healing from the Reggie secure, he would have won the 1v1. So if he can find another ult like that, that is going to be really huge for Ray. But Keedic playing patiently like they do, as the comp of Arson has a really hard time trying to find these engages with anything aside from this lax, so it's really all on quality to see if he can find a fight that favors them. You know, being this berry lax gonna munch up on the enemy team's berries, hopefully, in his view. We do get the eject out on the Buzzle, and that's good. We don't need to do anything else, but we do Dark Route the Buzzle. This is potentially a mistake, as the Buzzle does have ult back. It depends on whether he dies or not. If the Buzzle actually dies in this ult, it could be huge, and he does. So does Urshi. They both go down. It's just this Latios now. You cannot let this Latios go infinite into your team, as that's a big buddy barrier from the Snorlax taken by the Umbreon. But this Latios is putting in so much damage, and they're not able to turn onto Rayquaza for Arson with this advantage, but they do have Blissey ult on the comeback. They're going to have to try and rip this down and secure with the Blissey ult before this Urshifu is able to come back. And this Latios is chunking quality so much, but if he is able to keep the Latios away from his carries and just eat the damage, it's absolutely massive. And we don't have block up. He doesn't have the block to eat the damage, and this Blissey ult comes through with getting nothing. That means they have no secure moves left except for the Solar Blade, but the Leafeon's 1 HP, so it's impossible for him to get into the pit for the Solar Blade on the Ray. Pixel, the Darkrai, does end up getting the Ray low, and they do get it, but there's not going to be enough time. Even if they cap both sides, they will not win, and the team fight and the game, and not the Ray, but the game, goes to Keedic in game number 1. Interesting, huh? Really interesting, really interesting. We kind of saw a lot of engages early get cooked for Arson, you know. Keedic sort of went away with it, but the team fight in late game did look pretty good. They weren't quite prioritizing the Latios, so after getting those 2 all-rounder kills, they didn't realize that they were just dying so fast, so they just died to the Latios over and over because they can't find an angle on him after using all the resources that they have. It really was a game of that Latios. You know, they fed him a lot, and then he one-shots. And when he one-shots, you have to deal with him, but they didn't deal with him. The Lax wasn't able to keep him out for long enough. The Urshifu came back, and then it was just sealed up. Yeah, I'm curious to see what maybe will change up in this game number 2. As we'll see what side. What side Arson wants here. Bot side? I assume they still want bot side because they both said R. First, okay. I'll just switch it there and then start her up because we've got 2 R's. We're going to run this set pretty quick because we do have some people who are in a bit of time trouble on the side of Keedic that potentially have to leave or something soon. Not sure exactly what the dealio is, but where AJ at? I don't know, Rat. That's my question. You know, Rat, you really suck, man. You might be the worst person in this stream chat, and there's 12 people here. Anyway, I'm glad you're here, though. It boosts my analytics. Bans again. Slowbro ban really interesting, as we didn't see Slowbro played last game, but maybe banning it in order to play more carry sort of mons. I think I wouldn't be too surprised we see the Slowbros era. Wouldn't be too surprised if we see some sort of hyper carry from Team Arson here after the Slowbro ban. Another thing certainly interesting. That's gotta be racist? Yeah, it is. It's because you're fucking... I don't even remember what race you are. That one. Are you Indian? Is that what it is? Scrims got cut short. Holy fuck. Okay, back to this draft. They do pick the Ho-Oh leaving the Latios, and the Latios does get taken by Keedic as well as that Suicune. Note to Fire Water, you did improve on Suicune, my friend. You are looking a lot better than you were a few weeks ago on that Mon, because that was rough, but you're looking pretty good now, so shout out to you. We've got HP Fem, locking in the Blissey again, and this Blaziken taking a really tanky composition, but we're still gonna need something in these last 2 picks that can kill this Latios. Locking Umbreon back in. I mean, again, they're not picking any mons that are appealing for this Latios, but the Latios did play a good job not getting, found in this previous game. And that's what we're looking for. This, no Serena locked in. I would have loved to see the Serena here if she's comfortable on it. I think Serena is a really strong pick in this situation. But the Raichu is a good mage for the Latios, because the burst on the Raichu is similarly high, so if you hit your skill shots, you actually can 1v1 them on even in the late game. So I love to see this Latios. I love to see this Raichu for Budwolf. He looked very good on it in the previous set, having the best game of all 3 of the games that they lost. And of course, Pixel Blaziken. I've only seen him on 2 mons, the Blaziken and the Darkrai, and I like the Blaziken a little bit more in terms of his mastery over it, but they both look relatively clean. Evoli on her one trick, unfortunately. She's been playing almost exclusively that mon in this league so far. Of course, there have been multiple times I've seen her on some other stuff, but I'm not sure how much I like the Leafeon pick here. It's good for the Latios, but I do think that the Leafeon with the Solar Blade does kind of lose in a lot of these matchups. Like into the Urshifu. I think it can definitely be okay into the Tromp, but the Urshi matchup as well as the Suicune Umbreon can be a little bit weird. I think it's just hard to stay safe and not get caught out on this Leafeon, but it is a nice range/dive pick. It is definitely possible, and she's good at kiting on the mon, so it's not horrible. It's an angle for her where this mon is definitely playable, and she clearly wants to play the mon when it's playable, not just when it's OP. And it's definitely playable. She could definitely still cook, but I would have, ignoring comfort, I would have definitely looked for a different mon here, like we saw her hovering the Serena. Would have looked very good. We've got Garchomp top lane. I'm going to watch this top lane, as this Leafeon into Garchomp is a matchup that is really interesting, can be played both well and badly from both sides. And, it's a very volatile matchup. It can go either way. They're kind of trading sides here. Evoli does hit this top one. I wonder if she is stacking around, because it looks like she's just trying to trade farm, but doesn't end up being able to, because these guys end up ripping that farm and coming instantly back really fast. And they're not able to get any secures either. It's looking really bad for the Leafeon. But this Blaziken gank is faster than the Urshifu, and they should know that they have a little bit of tempo here where there is no Urshifu. Not really making use of it. Maybe could have came bot and played for this bot side gank and then ran up really fast, but neither lane was particularly played up. So it is hard to get value where before this Urshifu comes on the Blaziken, but the Urshifu does end up clearing really, really late. Isn't even in time for the 850s, which means that they actually just all go to Arson, but, Raichu comes up nearly being level 4. I think this is a mistake from the Raichu. I would like to see you stay bot there, because, you're just one tick away from this farm, from this power spike, and you're a lot more likely to get your XP on the bot side. Of course, I don't know how much XP he actually had before coming up, but I think generally, if you're playing Raichu and you're level 4, I recommend staying bot. I think especially when you're able to gap this Latios, trying to keep farm away from it. But we do have setting up E-balls on these mid-Bs, very good. Does get a bunch of them. Free cap for our Leafeon. We're out, We don't need to fight this. We're totally good. Really good play from Arson, giving themselves some very positive tempo Evoli greeds for the XP, but uses eject to make it out. Probably not even greeting. I think that was likely worth it, as she might have needed the eject button either way. So using it to get that extra little resource is not too bad. So now we've got a 4-man bot and a 1-man top. And a 1-person top. Same as last game. You know, I should say 4-person bot too, because they have HP fan too. I'm trolling. Anyway, Evoli does a really good job holding down this pad so far, but it's not gonna be able to matter. Raichu is Budwolf is gonna be rotating in this weird middle positioning. I would have loved to see him just like rip this, or maybe look in the enemy jungle now. Of course, they don't have map omnipresence, so they don't know that the jungle is up. But checking that on Leafeon and Raichu here could be, you know, a good way to get free value in the future. Keedic is playing this macro a little bit weird. They've seen the 4-man top, you know, very early on. I mean, the 4-man bot very early on. And so they're sort of just like spreading out resources, and it is pretty solid for them. But they could have definitely just left one up to the top lane to continue that lead, and also I think one bot if they played down here more aggressively. We do have the Urshifu ult, comes through, Bliss ult, unfortunate from the Bliss ult. The Blaziken is in behind the Urshifu, and I believe HP Fan wants to crash, but she uses the ult right as Pixel is dashing out. A little bit of anti-synergy there, unfortunate for Arson, but it is only a Blissey ult, not that much resources wasted, and they do get out the Garchomp ult for free. Of course, no one should be losing anything for this Garchomp ult, so it's very good for Arson. In the end, these top bees are up. I'd love to see Arson maybe push up and contest these bees now that they have the HP trade advantage on the Chomp. But the Chomp actually dies. He's very greedy there. I'm not sure how he died. I'm not sure at what point it was that he wasn't walking away, but he definitely was not fully walking away. I think he definitely should have just sprinted back to his pad from his Keedic. I don't remember who the fuck that is, I'm gonna be honest. But he definitely should have sprinted to his pad. Because now Arson, just off of that one tempo kill from the Chomp, gets this tier 1 on top lane. And as well, it's these other people are sort of fighting off of the pad. It's very unfortunate for Keedic. They're going 1 by 1 as well into Arson. Not really playing the defense as well as they could have. And this farm and XP is so far favoring Arson a little bit, but the Raichu levels are very low. We see these bees as well. We should definitely be contesting these bees with our Raichu here, as the rip is not required. This Blaziken can definitely solo the objective. You know, maybe have our whole Raichu on these bees. Could be an easy way to get some extra XP and deny some as well as Lottie stacks. We would deny Lottie stacks by that play. But we do have the mid-beast spawn, which is definitely good for Arson. You know, Arson, a team that has been on top of these farm timers in the past. I really would like to see them on top of these bees timers for the enemy team. Definitely could have given them some more advantage there. But Keedic does set up a really good ambush on top of the ambush. I like saying on top of right now. I don't know why, but I'm on top of it. I'm on top of saying on top of. We see a fight coming down. You know. And both these teams are on top of fighting each other for sure, as the fight does favor Keedic a little bit, but Arson does get the whole res, and the Garchomp mistimes the Dragon combo, which leads to this Umbreon walking into an E-Ball that was placed there a century ago. You know, really big misplay by Cody on the Umbreon, actually. But the Chomp as well gets caught out by the Blaziken, sort of singled out by the rest of the team, and the Blaze goes in a little bit too deep after the Chomp. You know, we're all good here, though. Beautiful. Very well played by Quality, baiting the Latios into that bush. Quality and Budwolf with the OG synergy from, you know, a long time ago, making a really good play there. And Keedic making a good choice to push the spot pad. If they're able to just force this 15 cap in, or the 23 with the score shield, but they're not splitting up as well as they could be. And the Blaziken actually finds a really good pick. I would have seen Monk, I would have seen Cody maybe hold on that score shield and have Monk go to the other side of the pad, and we definitely could have forced one of those scores in. But Arson does defend well because keedic gives them the opportunity to. And we have a lot of levels for Arson. We have this Latios, level 13, but not as big in the stack department as last game. So that is really going to be something to look at. Is that this Latios does not have as many stacks as could be, despite still having a large number of levels. And the flip is very favored for Team Arson. I would maybe even say that they should flip it if given the opportunity. I mean, of course, the enemy team is in the pit here, but if they get one pick or one thing goes the wrong way, they can easily flip on keedic from Arson. So it's really, really possible. And a lot of Electroballs, both the support and tank, are completely chunked out. Fire Water goes down, and the Umbreon resets, and this is when we should flip. We should instantly turn on this Ray, as it's very favored in our favor here. Bud almost getting caught out, but, you know, he walks a little bit forward where maybe he shouldn't be, but it doesn't really matter, as this Urshifu messes up its combo and, you know, gets Raichu ulted. They expend a lot of resources, and this is a good flip, like I'm saying. We like this flip a lot because we have the Blaziken, we have the Blissey ult. Now we just start charging and Blissey ult like 2 minutes ago, but that's fine. We still get it. You know, we're just playing only for the Blaziken. I think the Blissey just wants to keep more shields alive after the thing, given the Blaziken shield as maybe a for sure resource. I'm not sure about that decision from HP Finn. I think she maybe should have looked for the secure with the Blaziken, but that's alright. I understand as well that she doesn't want anyone to die while they're securing, as there is still potential comeback from keedic on this push with 40 seconds in the game. I like this positioning from the Raichu. Sees them walking past, will be able to walk past and get the cap after they go. But and spamming recall in the bush, really good, really good. I thought he was recalling for real. I got fooled. No, beautiful, well played from Bud. You know, he tricked me, man. I'm not built for this shit, man. Yeah, this game's over. GG's Arson. Game 2, and we have a 1-1 set. Really interesting. These teams are you know, duking it out quite well. Like some school somewhere in some place that's like acclaimed or something. You know, Duke University. Okay, my bad. But yeah, looking good. I like this set so far. It's some good close games. I was supposed to have a co-caster today. His name is AJ Dragon, but you should all DM him that he's a bitch because he's not casting with me today. I think he's stacking somewhere, or potentially he's doing something IRL by now. He was stacking somewhere earlier, but I don't think he's stacking anywhere. And maybe you shouldn't call him a bitch because he's actually quite a nice fellow. But you know, he is not present with me today, which means that that's why this is a cringe solo cast, even though it is quite a hype set. We would ideally try to have more casters for the set because we're cool like that. And it's a good set, but we don't, because AJ's a bitch. DM him that. You heard me. Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what we see in this game. Number 3. I like some of the draft adaptation from what's their name? Arson. I liked some of the draft adaptation from Arson. I liked they do take first on keedic. So yeah, we'll see if whatever team has this first pick does end up just winning the games. But yeah, we're gonna do this really fast as keedic is in a hurry and a bit of a rush, so we're gonna go quite fast here. But that's Loki. Let Radis cook. He'll cast. Radis, join a VC right now. You're invited. You're invited to the cast, Rat. Get the fuck in here. And then ping me when you join so I can see it, because I'm currently not looking at Discord. Or send a chat message when you join. Either or. Anyway, for this draft, we've got the Latios band from 1P. I guess they don't really want to 1P it, even though it has been putting in some work for them in the game. They realize that they're not really playing around the Latios as well as they could be. Of course, it would be really strong if we saw them take something like the Blissey away from Arson here. Although they have been early picking the Blissey on Arson, so it might not be possible to get both the Blissey and the Latios. They haven't picked Latios at all, so maybe 1P'ing that Blissey and then seeing if you can grab the Latios afterward would be the correct draft from Keedic, but it all depends on whether they actually would give up the Latios back, because Latios plus Blissey is very, very strong together, as the Blissey can keep the Latios alive in those sort of late game engagements. We have a really strong Suicune Blissey core though. Suicune, of course, being one of the prime Ho-Oh counters. Not Homo counters. Is Rat in a VC? Rat, are you here somewhere? No, you're not. What a loser. Okay, he said hold up. Okay. Bet. Just let me know when. Yeah, Blaziken coming down, that's a good counter pick, as Pixel, we've only seen him on these 2 Mons, and forcing him onto the Darkrai here, in a draft that is not very good for Darkrai. This is actually a horrible draft for Darkrai, so I think we'll probably see Pixel on a 3rd character this game. And we'll see what the rest of this team likes to pick. I would love to see the Raichu again from Budwolf. I think that was a very strong pick, and it's super strong into what the enemy team has here. But he opts for the Intel. Really interesting to see. Intel also a strong pick here. Oh, Rat's in a VC. Yo, it's my boy Ratus Patatus Addis the third. How's it going, big dog?
Yo, what's good? Where the games, man?
What do you mean, where the games, man? Look at... Oh, you're not an admin. Oh, you're delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're cooked. You're delayed. Well, I'll use you as like an analyst. You can give the I'll do play-by-play. You can do color. So you can talk about shit that already happened in the past. All right. Tell me, what do you think about these teams so far in the first 2 games, as well as going into Game 3? Any insight on this draft that they have by comparison to Games 1 and 2? What do you think, Rap?
I really like what Arson's doing here with their draft. They're like consistent. I like the target bend with the Zera on Monk, and I think like what they're looking for is they're looking to give them Ho-Oh or like Latios with their draft, like, and depending on which one they ban, they're gonna take the other, and then they just get 2 broken picks like Suicune and Blissey, which I really like from Arson.
Yeah, for sure. I am a fan of this draft, for sure. I agree with you that Arson is looking strong. We have Evoli on the Chomp, another pick that she has actually played in the past. And Pixel on the Urshifu. I'm really curious to see how Pixel does on this Urshifu, as the Urshifu pick could kick very hard in this game. You have the Blissey supporting, you have the Suicune for setup. You know, this Urshifu pick is really going to be a central pick in this game. I think if the Urshifu goes off, we could see it doing a large amount in this game, you know, and it's also on this Blissey HP fan to pocket the Urshifu, although I do trust that she will do a good job of that. I'm less familiar with Pixel's game, as you could say, so I'll have to see how this Urshifu does, but he does have a blue badge on the Mon, which it does inspire confidence, since his Blaziken does look very well good as well. I have to see if the Urshifu, you know, is similar to this Blaziken and can cook up a game here.
Yeah, for sure. And I am curious if we're gonna see a Dark Bear or a Water Bear on Pixel, because I know he plays Blaziken, and Dark Bear would seem to fit his playstyle if he does play it. And it could be very good into the Leafeon just to get a free pick. So
yeah, speaking of the Leafeon goes straight from his red buff into the enemy jungle, where the Glaceon clears his blue buff, I'm pretty sure, with the Ho, and he does take away that red buff from the Urshifu. Urshifu going to be level 4 for this first gank. Really sad to see, as they have 4-man top from Keedic. really setting dominance out on this top lane, but they do have a level 5 Drizzile now from Arson, having a little bit of comeback, but the Urshifu doesn't evo off of the Balthoi. That's so sad. And now you have to have this this bot lane look out for your jungler, as it's the only way to get back in this game. But they're just playing for bot, unfortunately. But the jungler diffs Monk. Monk shits the bed on the secure, and we see Pixel secures it, getting him back in this game, and it is the water bear. It's going to be that is going to be a very, very pivotal moment of this game. And Arson now have a really strong chance because they do have a better scaling core as well. So if they're able to scale up on this Urshifu and a beautiful caps as well, they realize that Keedic are constantly 5-manning this mid Bs and are able to capitalize on it by capping roughly 40 points in this bot lane, while the top lane is safe with Evoli guarding. Really good macro play by whoever called that out, and I'll be curious to hear who's doing the macro for Arson, as that was quite good. Any thoughts, Rat?
I think, like, early game, the Urshi just, like, had, like, a hard time. I think what could have happened was maybe the Suicune could have been clearing with them, since we have an intel bot. But he did manage to get lucky with the secure, because Monk inted, like, really hard, and was able to get back in, which was really good to see.
Speaking of inting really hard, Pixel throws it back, just like Monk did earlier, and is on their T2 like he's Sayotami, but isn't able to quite back it up, as he didn't kill 5 on their T2, but instead died on their T2. I didn't quite see what happened, so I'm not sure how big of an int it was, if it was obvious or if it was just unfortunately close, but they do lose both lanes, which makes it look really bad for Arson, as well as the Leaf ult coming down on this bot pad siege. They're gonna siege if they can break the pad, and it looks like they can.
Yeah, for sure. Those breaks are going to be, that break top is going to be very impactful for, like, Arson, but I think it's actually favored for Arson, because now the Garchomp can get online faster and there will be more farm spawning. But it is kind of unfortunate that we are maybe losing. I'm not sure what's happening bot lane because it's delayed, but we might be losing bot lane.
Yeah, we're not. I trolled the comms. We did not lose the pad, but the Blaziken did kill 2 in this top fight. But they do get their get back onto the Blaze. Of course, Evoli and Pixel both falling to this Blaziken earlier, fighting him away from their T2, trying to not let him push the Lekian. And they do break the bot pad eventually. We have no T1s left for Arson. This is kind of sad for your Inteleon, but the rest of you should be able to make plays alright. Certainly, though, Budwolf is going to have a hard time in this game playing the game with no T1s as this Inteleon into the Leafeon Blaziken.
We have 3 ults, though, on the side of Arson. If I'm Arson, I think we can just, like, go push a pad, and then we probably would win the fight if we just, like, or let's see Garchomp ult a pad, and then or she ult the Leaf, and then probably win team fight. But we're just looking to farm by the looks of it.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Of
course, it would be hard to push a pad into that Alcremie ult, but maybe if they end up finding a good pick, they would be able to very easily. I think you definitely are favored in a team fight here, but I'm not sure if it's quite to the extent where you can just run at someone's pad. That being said, I definitely think they should be looking for a 5v5 fight here for Arson, and we see the X attack plus the Urshifu ult. Probably going to end up going onto this Leafeon with the Urshifu ult to die. The Alcremie dies without ulting, and now is a time in which you could push this pad, but they opt to go for the Lecky instead, which is really maybe a good choice, actually, as the Ho-Oh does come back. They do get the Lecky for free. It is a little bit of global XP, but not that much. They don't end up getting much value for the Lecky, but they do end up pushing now. This is quite weird, as they don't have any ults left, and they have this Cream ult on the enemy side, as well as this Glaceon ult. Many things. They sort of ran out of resources to be able to continue pushing, and I was thinking that they realized that when they pivoted to the Lecky, but I think if you are going to push that pad, you have to do it instead of taking the Lecky, when you have that 2-man kill advantage. Instead, they have to take the Lecky and push the pad after, which is really strange. I think that the two plays that would make sense there, in my head, is you either push the pad before taking Lecky, or you just take the Lecky and walk away. But they are fast on these rotations to the objective, and they do end up ripping this spot objective before Keedic is even able to get there. They have so much wall farm. They're scaling even harder than Keedic now as these levels are in the favor of Arson, and they've got a good fight composition that is able to make plays and engage in the late game. So I would honestly say that this is not a bad spot at all to be in from Arson. An even game start, if not Arson favored in this situation, but the score lead is important for Keedic.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's like something Keedic fumbled on, where they broke both tier ones inside of Arson really early, giving so much catch-up XP for people like characters such like the Garchomp and the Intel, and so much XP, and now they're all like paired up with Keedic now, and Keedic is starting to look under-leveled here.
Yeah. And 30 seconds until Ray, I want you to say, what do you think of this team fight? How does either side have to play in order to get the picks and win the game? How do you foresee this fight going?
I think from here we just have to try to poke with our intel and try to get a pick off of it. Like I think our Urshi should be consistently looking like where the intel is poking, and if he gets like a target like the Blaziken or the Glaceon really low, we should just start engage on there. And then if we want to like be favored for the side of Arson, but it's kind of hard because we don't have that tier 1 bot pad up, so we kind of have to like play where the Leafeon is, like in mid, where like the Leafeon can flank you.
Yeah, super interesting analysis. I do agree with you that playing off this snipe shot is really big, as they don't have any poke on the other side. We see Leaf going for this back cap, and Arson commits to the flip, I believe. No, they're just tapping. But they look really strong into the tap. They force the Leaf back immediately, and are going to look for this fight onto the Leafeon. Urshifu ult plus the X attack comes out. Leafeon does get the shield from the Alcremie and the ult, but is still low. We see 5 ults being popped from Arson, though, and they aren't able to kill anyone with them so far, but they are all low. Maybe could be pivoting into a flip angle if you're Arson here, but the Garchomp, your biggest flip mon, is dead. Something I didn't quite realize immediately, but they have a Blaziken as well as this whole ult for the refight. It's really hard to fight again with no ults. It's really hard to flip until this Chomp is back up. It's very curious, what are we going to end up doing on Arson here, as the Leaf going in, he might be inting. The Leaf might be inting, but the intel doesn't aim for the Leaf, and Pixel doesn't go for the Leaf. You kind of just have to solo target damage the Leaf there if you want to punish him and then get out, but they don't. This whole ult brings back the last member. It's a 1v5 for this Inteleon now. See if he's able to close it out or do anything, but you have to maybe Fellstinger forward plus an auto attack, I think, is probably the only way that you could end up stealing this Ray, and it doesn't end up happening. The Leafeon falls to Ray, but it doesn't matter. And the game number 3 goes to Keedic. Any thoughts on that Ray fight? Maybe next game's draft? Anything going forward?
I think it was just a bunch of like missed target priority from the side of Arson. I think if they had better targeting on like the Leaf, they probably could have like been in like a good position to refight. But
Shit's the bed. Did I mishear that? No, you didn't. I calmed that. Because that's what he did in the moment, but... Alright, Rat, let's get you in this lobby so you can actually have live footage.
It's so cooked, bro.
Let's get you in here so you can actually have some live footage on this.
Dude, it's so hard for me to base, like, anything off of what I'm seeing from you, because you're, like, camera panning in so many weird ways, bro.
What the fuck? What the balls? I camera pan so well. Chat, vouch for my camera panning. It's not weird. You're weird, Rat. Alright, get on. There you are.
Yeah, let me in.
I'm letting you in.
No, I spectated this match, bro. We're 2-1 for the side of Keedic, right?
Yeah, Keedic is up 2-1. Really interesting. We saw Arson with, I think, a really well-played mid-game in that game. but they're not able to close out Ray. They fumble a little bit in the early game. They fumble a little bit at Ray time, but I do think that they had a really strong mid game from Arson. They were definitely diffing keedic in a couple of those fights mid, as well as those farm and those rotations were really good from Arson in the mid game. I think that's definitely their strongest part of the game is mid game. Anyway, let me see. I think we probably have the call out on what side. I'm gonna ask what side here. Will probably end up being first pick from Arson. I think that draft did look good. I would have liked to see the Raichu again. Maybe something more early game. I think the Intel pick is. I mean, it does have a strong early game, but it's the fact that it has to scale a little bit as well, and the early game has been nerfed a lot. I think what we needed from Arson there and from Budwolf specifically was a early game, bot laner or something, that provides a lot more like mid-range damage. I think, either something like an Espeon that can carry the early game, or the Raichu that provides that mid-range damage, and those Evols the Raichu just looks really good for them. I'm not sure what the reasoning could be to pick the Intel instead, as Bud was cooking on that Raichu. And I mean this with no offense, but the Intel did not look nearly as clean, because the Raichu was very clean. So that's something I would definitely. Sorry, Rob.
Personally, like the last game, I think I could have seen we could have maybe seen a liquidation intel instead, the snipes, mainly for the Leafeon, just because we have the Suicune and we also have the Chomp, peel for you. If someone tries to dive you, they just get Dragon Comboed off you, and then we'd still have Suicune for extra peel. And I think if we're liquidation, we can just late game, we can just one tap the Leaf and the Glaceon.
Yeah, for sure. Right. All right, Rat, you carry this draft and talk through this draft. I'm gonna go for 2 minutes.
So
I just gotta go for 1 second. I'll be right back. On the stream, I got to do something really quickly.
Okay, we see on the side of Arson, we're banning the Slowbro, which is interesting. I think Keedic is bans Zavo, which it's definitely a regional ban considering Arson is 1P and we don't want Obama to have it. Of course, you let the Zera go past draft on the side of Arson, which is curious, but will Monk play is the question. Curious if we're looking for a Latios 1 pick on the side of Arson, but I highly doubt it. But we do pick the Latios, which in my opinion, it's not. I don't think it's a correct 1P. I think it's very punishable if Keedic really wants to. I think if I'm Keedic here, I would just go triple dive for the Latios. Since we have the Blissey Umbreon core, support core. You have HP fan on the not the comfy. HP fan on the clef head. Quality on the Snorlax. Quality do be a demon on that Lax, of course. So excited to see that, especially against this Umbreon pick. Not sure who. Uh, we picked Blaziken and Guardy on the side of Keedic, which I mean it's not bad here, but it might be a little bit difficult to kill the Sladios now. Like, I think even with the Zera, I think it's kind of hard to kill the Gladios.
Boo!
We did last pick the Urshi. Like I think I really like Arson's draft because I think if Arson plays it right, like the Sladios just never dies. We just have Urshi. I mean the Blissey is probably safeguard, but if he heals, then I don't see Monk ever diving the Latios when we have Urshi ults.
Hi, Pi! Pi, welcome. This is a league. This is like a grassroots league that I am involved with. Mid Lane and AJ, if you know them, they are the founders of this league and the owners. I'm closely involved with the league. It's pretty cool. We have games like this with some strong teams like this broadcast. But yeah, okay. Back to what Rat was saying about the draft here. We do have the Umbreon plus the Blissey. We've got a very strong core for these sort of fights that are more one-shot sort of fights. But we've got the really strong poke with the Latios, only the Zeraora to dive. So I think it's really just all comes down to how well this Latios plays. Truthfully, I think the Latios can 1v9 the game here, but it's really hard. You have to be very, very careful and play almost perfect if you're Budwolf. And that is definitely the easiest way to win the game. Of course, this Urshifu also has a strong pick here. Can also potentially play this game well. Get snowballed. Have a good fight angle. But you know, Leafeon can do a lot. Clef needs to play around the Latios, make sure that he stays alive, lighten the job a little bit. We do have the invade from the Blissey. Clefable blocking it out.
Good catching from our Clefable. That's actually really good.
Yeah. HP Fen.
The Leaf does secure the middle farm, which is that we're almost Leafeon. Could be scary considering we're going to be Solar Blade most likely.
We get Leafeon, meaning we'll have Solar Blade by the time the Zera comes here. I'd like to see this Urshifu maybe gank bot, get Latios ahead, and let this Solar Blade Leafeon play safe and passive on these bees. But the Urshi does come top.
I agree. I don't think the Leaf needs help.
Yeah,
I think the Leaf can guarantee get at least 2 safes, like 2 birds, if he times it secure right. I don't really think the Urshi. Okay, but the Urshi does go in. He does get a kill on the Torchic. Looking for the kill on the Zera now, but they don't get it. They do get caps though.
I think this Urshifu is just playing selfishly. You know, this Urshifu is just playing for himself in this act of ganking the top path. I think potentially the strongest way for the team to win is through this Latios and the Urshifu helping the Latios. But ganking the winning lane is obviously the best way to get yourself ahead. And he does manage to can succeed in that goal of the Urshifu. Maybe being able to gank again would be really strong if they do end up pushing, but they don't. And he does come up for the gank again, but doesn't find the situation as Keedic backs off. Getting ready for this 8-minute bees. I'll let you take over here.
Okay. The Leaf does get a pick on the Blissey, which is good. And they're potentially looking for a kill on this Combustion as well. Try to get more stacks.
Yeah, stacks are really important for this team for sure in this composition. But we have the Latios stacks and we also have the attack weight stacks. Most likely, I wasn't looking at builds, but we most likely have attack weight stacks for the other ones as well. So it is very impactful. This Urshifu has a strong level lead. Or not level lead. He has a strong level on this jungle. They're going to play for this bot path. They're going to get this Latios ahead now, potentially. If we can cap this 30 on the Latios, even get some stacks maybe, it will be very big for this game. Of course, you need both levels and the stacks, but in order to carry the game as the Latios. But I like this lane trade from you know, from what's their name? Arson. I like this. Holy shit! How did I not know that? How did I forget for a second? I like this lane trade from Arson. I do think that playing through bot path is strong for them. I would like to see them try to maybe continue their lead and break this pad, but the Urshifu just wants to get his ult and see if he can catch the enemy team with his ultimate. Right now, I believe they would like to take a team fight really bad, as they have these 2 Unite moves, and they know that they have 0 Unites on the enemy side. Lottie was forced to use eject. They don't know the Blaze is in there, but Budwolf doesn't face check. He's a good boy. And good boys don't face check bushes, so Bud doesn't do it. We've got good full heal from the Zera, but incorrectly predicts the timing of the Urshifu ult. This Urshifu, like I'm saying, he is going in, gets multiple kills, and it's gonna be strong for this Urshi. I mean, it's definitely a lot more possible now than in the last game for this Urshifu to really have a strong lead. We do have a pad broken from Arson, which means more farm from this topple, and they still have the score lead, Rat.
That's true. But they do have the score lead, and they do have levels over keedic, but the problem with this is, like, Arladios is just getting stacks off farm. He's not really hitting people with his Dragon Pulse, which I think could be really bad for late game. I think if I'm the Latios, I think I just perma play with my Lax and just try to get as many, like, Latios stacks as I can before
Leaf
the next
ults
team
the
play.
Blaze up here. We see them do take the kill. Monk comes up with the Zera Unite. We'll see if he's actually able to kill this top lane here. This Urshifu and the Leafeon look to turn it against Monk. He thinks he's favored because of the Unite move, but the Urshi misses his skill, and the Liquidation saves him. They're able to get the 32. A huge cap for Evoli, but she is going to die for it, wasting that eject button. Unfortunately, I believe that she thinks the Blaziken is in the other form, being the reasoning for the eject, but she doesn't realize that actually the Blaziken is in ball form and he can just ball her with his ball.
I think this positioning from the Umbreon, I think this is very correct here. I think if I'm the Blaziken, I would honestly just start hitting the thing. I don't know why he's trying to play for the bridge right now. I think the Umbreon, we do get bot pad the. We pop Blissey on the Guardy.
Yeah, really, really interesting. We see this team fight in the bot lane go in the favor of Arson. They get a big overcap. This Latios is looking a little bit small when it comes to stack, but it does make up for it in levels. I'd love to see them maybe spare these people, or I would have loved to see them spare these people for the Latios to give him more stacks, as the enemy team was already dead. And HP Fen, we see her recalling into this, doing this top lucky. We have. I keep wanting to call out this Blaziken's name, and it's just fucking Huz Keedic, bro. His Keedic. Who's Keedic? Who's Keedic?
I don't even know who this player is.
I forgot. I don't know, man. Anyway, we do have Mon Keedic. Something really to note is that Alpha is on this comfort pick of the Gardevoir. We've seen him, playing like a certain Gardevoir player I know named Monkey, who, face checking these bushes, playing a little bit unsafe. But Umbreon finds a really good angle for this cap, by the way. Really, really smart positioning from this Umbreon. I love to stay in this bush when I'm looking for the cap. And now you could probably not do it yet, but I think I would have gone already. So the discipline from this Umbreon, realizing that it's not time yet, and there's going to wait until there's vision on the enemy team in order to go for this cap. It's really, really strong discipline from Cody here. I would have already entered this play, but it is a strong play. Bud finds the Umbreon, though, which is really, really good for Arson, as now he's able to stack farm off of this Umbreon. He should just continue chasing this forever and get infinite stacks. Forcing the XP from the Umbreon, as he doesn't want to give him another stack. He doesn't care whether he dies or not. He just doesn't want to give the Latios one more stack, and he doesn't. Good play from Cody to burn that X speed for the stack, to deny the stack. But it will be gone 20 seconds into Ray.
I think it's really unfortunate that Umbreon didn't get the cap there, but Latios did get a bunch of stacks, which is good for Arson, but we don't have X speed Umbreon. It's rare.
Going into 2 minutes here, something. Yeah, no XP Umbreon, definitely not necessary. What Rat said. Anyway, going into 2 minutes here, something to note is that we do have a pretty good flip angle with the Blaziken Blissey secure from Keedic, so we could see them go with that, especially with the Gardevoir Unite as well, and the Zera doing a lot of damage. We could see them go for the flip if maybe this Leafeon being the only secure is seen maybe going for this Umbreon. Of course, Arson doesn't know this, but this Umbreon Cop does not even put Keedic in the lead. Blissey comes down really early, but, hits nobody with the Blissey. We take a 2-for-1 for Arson, and our one guy has his Unite move up still, but Budwolf, playing in a really unsafe spot, gets jumped on by the Zera. Zera procs full heal, potentially unnecessarily. HP Fan goes down, Umbreon Unite move. Evoli almost goes down, but the Shed Doll from Alpha... Sorry, Evoli does go down. The Shed Doll from Alpha saves him from near demise, and now it's going to be this Lax up against all odds to potentially find the secure, even with the Blaziken overheat. He goes in, but it's not enough damage on the Heavy Slam. Well played by Keedic to find that Rayquaza, and we'll have to see. This game is not over, though, by any means, to be very clear. We're going to have to see a very quick fight and a very quick fight win from Arson if we do want to see them win this game, as they have the shields. I would love to see potentially we already push. We leave this Urshifu on the home pad. We go 3-man, try and get in whatever we have on the 3-man, but it's a bit late at this point. The game is over. Arson loses. And Keedic takes it in a 3-1. Overall, Arson looked very, very strong that game, winning for most of it, but that's not what ends up winning the game. Shed Doll from Alpha at the end, a little bit of BM, and Keedic takes it. Say something stupid, Rat.
Yeah, I don't know why this guy got me in here. I'm just a player, man. I'm not supposed to be casting this.
Say something about cheese. Say something about cheese.
Hey, man. Cheese is my life, man.
And that's why you're here. That's why we got you on this cast. He's a fiend for the cheese. I don't think... Yeah, he needs it. I'm not sure if we will have a post-game interview here. It did seem like Keedic had to run. Had to be somewhere in a hurry. So I'm unsure whether they would like to do a post-game interview here. I think I'll probably just say this on stream, and maybe if I get some comment from them sometime soon, I'll take them in here. But if not, we'll probably just end the stream up here soon. Really exciting match. Any actual legitimate last-minute thoughts that you have about that set, Rat?
Not that I can think of, no. My brain does not remember anything that happened in that replay except for I guess we started to... I think what happened that kind of lost us the fight is that after I forgot who they killed. They killed the Urshi, the Zera.
It was the Blissey and someone. I think it was Blissey Blaze. I think they killed Blissey Blaze.
Yeah, I think what happened that kind of messed up the fight. After, I think Arson is a really good position at that point, but then Monk gets a lucky pick, a good pick on the I forgot who it is. I'm gonna rewatch the thing.
Budwolf on the Latios.
Yeah, he gets a good pick on Budwolf, and then it's unfortunate because the Clef kites downwards instead of up towards their team, and then they died right after.
A misplay from HP Fan as well. She probably should have kited up, but I think she might have died either way. But I do agree that the kiting was probably the wrong direction. Probably had a few better odds at living out of the direction. Monkey says, do a post-game interview on Arson. No. We're only going to do that whenever Secret Tech loses. If you guys lose, you're getting the interview. That's how it works. But you're the only team. And it's only Rat.
Dude, I suck at this.
Yeah, he's gonna get interviewed, and we're gonna ask him why he sucks so bad. You too, actually, Monkey. You're invited because you also suck. And who else is invited? Kyo's invited. Kyo sucks. Security and Nen are safe. They're both good. So yeah, you three are gonna come do a post game interview when you lose, and you're.
That's crazy.
If you lose,
You're gonna lose. Man.
If. And yeah, we're gonna stiff whoever beats you. They're not allowed to talk about it. Okay, I'm a throw. Okay, but anyway, guys, watch this mime clip. Nen, you should play Shed Doll, Bury Your Psychic Mime. Trust me, look at this. Beautiful Shed Doll. Boom! Bababooshka, bagababooshka. Bagalagoo-da-da. I'll sing my song for you. Say it in chat. We all know the one.
Oh no. Oh no.
We all know the one. You gotta lock in that Sableye though. It's a Sableye draft. Start practicing. Hey, have Kyle play bot lane. He can play melees for you, and you play support more. Demon. That's good comms.
That's actually not bad though.
Actually, isn't bad. Alright, looks like we probably don't have a post-game interview, so I'm gonna say that it's likely... What is this clip? I'm showing Shed Doll clips now, because I've got a few recent Shed Doll clips of me Shed Dolling things.
I'm gonna say it's cooked, and I'm gonna go to sleep.
Alright, have fun.
Gee.
Yeah, Cody did play well, Max. He definitely did. Oh, beautiful Shed Doll for me. What the heck? I'm demon. Alright, one more clip. Oh, this isn't Shed Doll. Never mind. Alright, bye. See you stream. Oh. Before I end the stream, you should do the like button and the subscribe button.